Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review, or should I say, late to the party review of The Substance, which is a satirical body horror film which stars Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. This film follows a fading celebrity played by Demi Moore who uses a black market drug to create a much younger version of herself with unexpected side effects. This is a film that I saw the trailer for, I don't know, around beginning of summer or whenever it was. I saw the trailer and I was a little excited for it because I'm a big fan of Demi Moore. Haven't seen her much lately. She pops up in things every now and then, but as far as being the lead of a film, I haven't seen her in much. You know, going back to the '80s and '90s, uh, I mean, Demi Moore was the bee's knees, man. I mean, GI Jane. What was that stripper movie she was in? I forgot the name of it. Burt Reynolds co-starred with it. But all those type of films, going back to the '80s, with she was part of the Brat Pack and all that there, and being married to Bruce Willis and all this here. You know, she was a major star, a big star in Hollywood. Couldn't do any wrong. Loved Demi Moore, and so her disappearing, not so much from the spotlight because she stayed in the pop culture zeitgeist, of course, being married to Ashton Kutcher and all this other good stuff. She stays in the known for the most part, but as far as her being on a big screen or something like that, it's been sparingly, and especially when it comes to leading a film. And so when this film was announced and saw the trailer and what this film was about, and she's the lead, I'm like, oh, sign me up. This looks very interesting. And a horror film. Now, before we get into the review, I wanted to kind of touch in on what is a horror film. I know this is a body horror, quote unquote, and it has disturbing images all throughout this film, but nothing I would consider horror. Now, there are some horrific moments, with the transformations and stuff like that. Yeah, but I wouldn't classify it as a horror. At least not a horror in the general sense. There's no slasher. There's no masked man running behind you with a machete and nothing like that. There's no killing sprees in here, but it is some very horrific stuff. So I guess it is a horror. But in any event, I I took my time with this review. I watched this movie with my wife. My wife really wanted to see it, which kind of shocked me. Of course, she's not into movies like I am, and so she doesn't know the backstory and all this other stuff with it. And I kind of, I kind of kept it from her that it was going to be plenty gory. This is a body horror, somewhat in the vein of David Cronenberg film. This is going to be like The Fly or Scanners type horror. Imagery on the screen. But I kept that from her, and so I made sure we didn't eat nothing. Thank God. I made sure we didn't eat nothing when we watched it. But this film really caught me off guard. I was so surprised, even though my expectations were pretty high, hearing the reviews, reading the reviews, and, seeing people's reactions who have seen the film. I was kind of bucked up. My expectation level was pretty high, and it met it. This film met those expectations. What a film. To the degree that I had to take some time. Normally, I'm fresh, with these reviews, so I won't forget anything, so I can give you my immediate reaction to a film. But this one I had to let sit. And the more I let sit, and I've done it, for films in the past that I've reviewed, I let sit because it affected me in a way that I really wanted to kind of formulate my words intelligently. So I kind of let it sit. In this one, I had to let sit because at its core, the substance has a very basic message throughout the film. It's nothing that's innovative in the sense of what they're trying to tell you. It's really right there, literally right there. I think everybody can get this messaging. I think a 6 year old will understand what's being told here, but I wouldn't recommend a 6 year old watching it. It's hard for me to recommend a 56-year old to watch. I mean, it's some disturbing images throughout this film, but um, yeah, it's not super complicated, what you're seeing, but it is innovative in the way that the story is told. I've said it throughout the first 6 minutes of this review that it is very gory. It is very uh I mean think about The Fly, the old Jeff Goldblum film from 1986. Think about how gory that was or disturbing the body horror was in that, and dial it up to 11. That's how disturbing it is. But it needed to be. And it fits this story. It's not just being this way for the sake of being this way. It's to tell the story and so you can get a deeper understanding of the story. And I truly appreciated it for that. I appreciate the fact that this was this is something everybody can relate to, even though it is centered around this woman and it affects women far more than a man. Let me just put that out there. This really tells that story, and understandably, I felt it from the woman's standpoint here. But everybody, in some sense, can understand what Demi Moore's character is going through. It is like soul crushing what she is going through or what she had to put up with in order to make this decision to participate in this experiment, if you will, this to take this black market drug that she did. Let's start off with the acting. Let's start off with Demi Moore. Without a doubt, hands down, this is not hyperbole. This is not me just flying off the handle making this outlandish statement. I'm saying this with my whole chest. This is Demi Moore's greatest performance ever. Ever. This is probably one of the greatest performances of the year. I cannot express this enough. I was so moved by her performance here. There's a scene in this film that towards the middle, maybe close to the third act of this film, that she has when she's preparing to go on this date with a guy that she known. I'm gonna tell you, and it was no dialogue throughout that scene, but it was so powerful through her performance, what she was experiencing, what she was going through, looking in the mirror and trying to be satisfied with what she looked like, and what she uh envisioned herself to look like, but not coming to the realization that who she is enough, but she just could not accept it, and it was heartbreaking to see her just go back to that mirror every time. And you knew it was, I mean, it was soul crushing. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that scene. It's probably my favorite scene in the film. It was so powerful, and throughout the movie, I mean, she was just firing on all cylinders. There was moments of levity, moments of comedy that she displayed. She was being funny without being funny, and that's the best type of funny, And she did it effortlessly. I mean, it was spot on, perfect. Loved her performance. Margaret Quinley, I believe that's how I say her last name. I've seen her in a number of things. And in case you don't know, Margaret is the daughter of Andy McDowell. Yes, the actress. And man, she 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 blew my mind in this movie. I did not know she was that good of an actress. She was really, really good. I mean, unbelievably sexy in this movie. Didn't know she was that sexy. I mean, she, and Demi Moore too. Let me swing back to her real quick. Demi Moore, at her age, is gorgeous. Unbelievable. I don't know if this is imitation of life, if she feels like this in real life, what her character felt at being an aging actress, but she has no reason to believe that feel that way. She is gorgeous in this movie. Margaret Quinley is gorgeous in this movie and does an excellent job portraying the younger version of Demi Moore in this film. Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid comes through in a big way. And Dennis Quaid, lately, I was a big Dennis Quaid fan, but lately, I'm not really much of a fan of his. It's more political reasons, but it's but his acting too. He's not really in a lot of good things as of late, but he was awesome in here because he was supposed to be this slimy, disgusting individual, just misogynist, just the head of the patriarchy type villainous character, and he ate it up literally. He was just disgusting, a disgusting human being. Uh, hated his guts. Now, originally he wasn't meant for this role. It was Ray Liotta who was cast, but we all know Ray Liotta passed away last year or a couple of years ago, right before they started filming. I know that much, but yeah, unexpectedly, I think like 2 weeks before they were supposed to start filming, and Dennis Quaid came in at the last minute. But he did an excellent job. To say he came in late, he did an excellent job in this role. All the actors here, A+ acting, and they had an amazing screenplay to work off of. This was written very well. I love the story. I love the pacing. The direction here was excellent. Just the use of the camera, the use of certain shots in the shots in this movie that you would probably look at as B-roll or pickup shots in other big blockbuster films. They're focusing on the little things throughout this film. Like the scene where Dennis Quaid was talking to Demi Moore at the restaurant and he's peeling the shrimp, and you get a close-up shot of him peeling the shrimp and him chewing it, and it was just disgusting, and it was meant to look disgusting and make you feel disgusted, and it worked. Every little scene, every little shot worked, and that's the direction and the editing perfectly done here. This speaking of making you feel uncomfortable, the sound design, this probably had the best sound mixing of a film I've seen all year. I mean, you hear every crunch of the, not crunch but slurp of the shrimp that Dennis Quaid's character was eating. You hear the body twisting and crackling from the transformation scenes and stuff like that. It's just little things to unsettle you throughout the film. And it was, it was just well put together, well made, just perfectly done. I am so happy that I watched this movie. I plan to do a deeper show, a bigger show, where we just dive in spoilers and talking everything about this movie, because it's a lot to dive into concerning this film. But for the time being, the substance gets a letter grade of an A+. I really find no problem with it. When I when the movie went off, I was kind of upset. I didn't like the end, and like I said, I let it sit for a minute. A couple of days. I let it sit, and then as it kept replaying through my head, even when I didn't want to think about it, it kept coming up in my head, and I'm like, wait, okay, I get it now. Okay, that makes. Oh, all right. This is. I think she was trying to go for this. Okay, that makes sense, and that's where I settled on. It was just something that just had to play out in my head, and a couple of movies did that I reviewed, and later on I thought about it because I reviewed it and said I hated the ending, and then later on when I thought about it, I was like, wait, no, I get it now. So, and I'm slow. I'm sorry, but for this one, it wasn't slow. I got it, and the substance gets an A+. We will do another show about the substance because there's a lot more I want to dive into concerning this film. A lot of social issues, a lot of satire, issues that we go through, especially women go through daily as they age, and the stigma that society has put on women when they get a certain age, the way they supposed to look, and how we objectified women and stuff like it. It's a deep, deep discussion that this film brilliantly touches on and makes a powerful, powerful message by doing so. The substance gets an A+. Clearly one of the best films of 2024. I would love to know, what did you think of the substance? Did you check it out? Were you grossed out by this film? Do you think Demi Moore deserves an Academy Award nomination when that comes out in a few months? I know that the Academy kind of shoos away from horror films, but they really need to take a look at Demi Moore in this film. She deserves her flowers. I would love to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of The Substance. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.